Utah is an interesting place, very, very beautiful. One of the most beautiful places I've visited in this world, and I was fortunate to be able to grow up there. And there wasn't a lot of, support for art in general when I was growing up. So it was really tough to start a band and find places to play. I was homeless before I met Quinn, and when I say homeless, I mean sleeping wherever I possibly could sleep. I wasn't always sleeping in a park or on a bench. I had a lot of friends too. I was a teenager. Most of the time I was staying with an older lady who hired me at Subway as a sandwich artist, and I was an excellent sandwich artist. Those were the good old days, man. And so sleeping around wherever I could, and had a really controversial lifestyle at that point. I was using a lot of really fun drugs, and that I wouldn't suggest anyone try. I met Quinn and Jeff and Brandon. Actually, I'd known Brandon and Jeff from before. They were in a band called Dumb Luck, and then the band changed to Strange Itch. And they were quite the spectacle live. Jeff had long dreads like down to his knees, and he was real Mike Patton-ish, really had this flowing style on stage. And everyone knew Brandon Steinekert. He was kind of like scene king. He was always promoting his band. He was always out putting flyers up, and really, really passionate about music. And I heard these guys were looking for a singer, and they contacted me at my parents' house when I was just out or just in rehab, I can't remember which. But immediately I moved in with Quinn, so I was no longer homeless. I had a band, and really they saved my life. We would make music at Jeff's mom's house, and then they would take me to Narcotics Anonymous meetings. So I had these new friends, and they didn't drink, they didn't do drugs. They loved music, they played music, they talked about music. And then for fun they would, sneak out late at night and play at a park or some kind of sober fun. So I was exposed to this entirely new, kind of refreshing lifestyle, and everything took off from there, really.
Second chance, bought a boat and tried to feed it. A capsized dance like the desert wouldn't feed it.
We were sending our demos to everyone we possibly could have, and John Feldman wrote back to us the next day and was really, really excited about it, and flew us out. Like 2 days later, recorded our first 3 songs on our first record. It was Baby Memories, The Taste of Ink, and A Box Full of Sharp Objects, and we shopped it around to 12 labels, and everything kind of went crazy from there. We signed to Warner after a long, arduous process of, shopping record deals is what they call it. We started touring nonstop in an RV around late 2000, and about a year of touring in the RV with bands like Fu Manchu and Monster Magnet and Pressure 4-5 and Audio Vent, and a lot of really awesome, still relative bands. We had the opportunity to do the Warped Tour, and I think the word really spread naturally on the Warped Tour. The Warped Tour is a great place to see new bands, as everyone knows if you haven't heard. And it was great for us in that aspect that we reached a lot of kids in the US immediately within one summer. And I think after the summertime, that's when we really started to see how many fans we had, not just in the USA, but also globally. After the band had been touring for a while, when we got with Feldman was a really kind of instrumental part of the beginning of the band. Really helped us to open up our ideas a little bit more. And I guess what Feldman did for me was bring out my true passion in music. When I was 5, I lived each day listening to Michael Jackson all day long. It was my favorite thing. I couldn't believe that someone like that existed with such a voice, and immediately I knew what I wanted to do with my life. Feldman helped me to kind of pull that childhood love of melody out, which I think is half the reason why the Used sounds the way it does. We all come from such different backgrounds musically that the combination is was always interesting. The music business is called a business for a reason. It's not run by artists, it's run by suits. And so in turn, you end up playing the business game, unfortunate as it is. I think that everything you hear on the radio and the majority of the music you listen to has been forced into this type of regimented appropriateness for what music should sound like. There's a system, there's structure, and there's a format. With new technologies, things are chopped and spliced and perfected. What we're really hearing is something that's completely manipulated to what it honestly and truly sounds like in its pure intention. Fortunately, nowadays we have new technology and the world is getting smaller and smaller by the minute, so the future of music is bright. I think the youth has always tried to make music that kind of touches on humanity and human issues and death and life and birth and the cycle of life and oppression and maybe challenges that we face and the way to deal with challenges and to overcome troubles and problems in life. And I've always kind of had this message for myself in writing my lyrics. And with this new EP, we kind of wanted to just keep it really nonsensical and inspired by some of my favorite authors like James Joyce and William Burroughs. There's a lot of meaning in these songs, but you'll have to look really, really close in some spots. Also, we wanted to try to do something that was completely left center from the studio sounds we've always made and really make a statement about music in general. Our kind of goal in our making this EP down here and producing it ourselves was to just make something that flows from us naturally, capture the real sounds and the true integrity of the music, and do whatever the we wanted to do and keep it noisy and keep it exactly what we wanted it to be. And I gotta say, it's been the most amazing time I've ever had making music. You should try it. Yeah, the writing process for these 4 songs was unique in a way that we kind of have a typical way we approach songs that varies. Either I will come up with an idea and bring it to the band and then we'll digest it that way, or Quinn will have a guitar part, or Jeff will have a bass part, or even just as simple as a cool drum, a rhythmic pattern that we enjoy hearing would fit into a vibe. Or maybe it fits a poem that I wrote or something like that. This record, we wanted to pay homage to our heroes of rock and roll, and we all grew up listening to, you know, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, I guess you could say grunge. That's just another label they put on music to sell music in record stores, but grunge fits the whole entirety of what we've been doing for the last 5 or 6 years, which we've been calling gross pop. I think it's just true rock and roll at its purest, with all the mistakes and all the feedback and everything that makes music honest with its mistakes is right in your face, with a pop sensibility that kind of captures the whole thing. So we really looked at some Nirvana songs that we love, and when I say pay homage, I guess we could just be honest. Paying homage is just stealing. But everything's been stolen before, and a lot of people have their own opinions about that, but who wasn't honestly inspired by the sound of In Utero? It changed how music is interpreted by the fans, especially. Incesticide is the record that taught me harmonies. Bleach is the record that taught me to play guitar. Nevermind is the record that taught me how to write a chorus. Kurt Cobain was a huge, huge part of my childhood, and I feel like I was blessed to grow up in the years that I did. We wanted to make music for fun that we wanted to listen to, and this time it was specifically for us. Not even for the fans, sorry to say. The process of recording this EP has kind of opened up everybody's eyes. I mean, it's strange to be watching Jeffa record a bass line and be so excited about the fact that he can make noise and play things wrong if he wants to. Play it however he wants to play it. That might sound ridiculous to some people, to be so excited about that freedom, but that's changed the way that we will write music forever. And I think that this EP is just a preface or a foreshadowing of a record to come. We'll have a full length. We're planning on recording a full length in the next 6 months, and it'll be out in the next 9 months. So the kind of approach we're taking to writing music and the sound of the music will definitely carry on through the next record. And I'm not trying to make any disclaimers for how this stuff sounds. It sounds exactly how it sounds because that's how we wanted it to sound. When it's out of tune, it's supposed to be out of tune. When Quinn plays the wrong note or Jeff plays the wrong note or I sing it a certain way, that's exactly the way we intended. So I hope you enjoy it because we haven't ever had more fun making it and listening to it.